How much is your home really worth? The price you choose can either make or break your sale. Price it too high and it sits. Price it too low and you leave money on the table. In today's episode, we're going to give you proven steps and strategies to price your home so it'll sell fast and for top dollar.
Welcome to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things real estate, helping you take the road less traveled to real estate success. Yes, you and you, my co-hosts, Brooke Massey, Casey Tuter, and I'm Curtis Haddock.
Whoop,
if you
whoop.
guys like today's content, please comment, subscribe, do all the things.
Hit the bell, ding, ding.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
if you like it, definitely like it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know,
You know, the most important thing when you go to a listing appointment is the price. And it's always probably one of the most frustrating things to do. But I'll say this, if you can master that part of the appointment, you're going to be a really good listing agent.
The rest doesn't matter.
Because as much, I'll get my computer out, I'll work comps in front of them. I'll ask them questions like, hey, what do you think about this house compared to your house? I'll put this puzzle together for them and we'll land on a price, say, okay, so with what these comps are saying, your house is worth $300,000. They're going, well, we're thinking $325,000.
yeah,
Yeah.
And they do it every
time.
single time.
Every time.
well, because $25,000 in their mind, that's not. Someone's gonna be willing to.
We
pay
can always
it.
come down. They've
Yeah.
got all this, and
We can
everyone thinks the same
negotiate.
thing. Yeah, they're gonna come in low, right? They're gonna ask for closing costs, but this is crucial. Pricing it right is absolutely crucial, and you have to learn how to get your clients on board. And if you can't get your clients on board, then it's just going to end up being what it's going to end up being, which most likely you're going to end up taking less than you could have taken if you would have just priced
Almost
right.
every time they end up with less than what they would have received had they just priced it right. Because they're right. I mean, people are going to come in low. They are going to come in asking for things, okay? But when you sit on the market longer and have some price drops to get to that point, it's just going to encourage them to ask for even more. And you as the seller are now a lot more tired because you've been having to keep your home, ready for however long it's been. And you're just like, gosh, I'm ready for this to be over.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so now you're more willing to accept a nonsense offer.
Yeah, or you have to.
Or you have to, because you're now in a position to where you're closing on another house or whatever the case may be. You're moving to another state for a job, whatever it is. So price it right. So today we're going to go over a few things. We're going to talk about some of the common pitfalls that people make. I think it's so important to talk through like just our mindset and, whether it's from, there's agents that make, common mistakes when they're pricing a home and sellers that will make mistakes. And then we're going to go over the steps that we all take when it comes to, deriving a price. I think the three of us probably take very similar steps. Maybe there's a few differences here and there, but we'll see what those are. And then lastly, we are going to talk about the risks of what you were just talking about, Casey, the risk of overpricing,
Dun, dun, dun.
as well as the risk of underpricing a home. And ultimately, I think what you guys will learn, if you don't want to watch any of this episode and you just want a main takeaway,
Just like it, subscribe, comment, click the bell, and then you can leave.
and share it with you,
Get out.
with somebody.
Yeah.
But know that pricing it at fair market value is the absolute best thing that you can do. You could get over it all depends on market conditions. When we're getting multiple offers, you'll get over your ask price, especially if you price it right. You're going to get a lot more. You're going to get more demand. So anyways,
I was going to say, key word is demand.
yeah. It's a big part of it because we'll talk about it we'll talk about it. In
Should I
common
talk
pitfalls.
about the little game that I play with all my sellers to make them understand how market works?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I do this game too. I
Yeah.
taught you this game.
No.
What?
Yes.
I taught you the game.
No.
Well, teach me the game.
We taught each other the game.
You heard if you were at training this last couple weeks ago, he played it.
Well,
So
you
I
know,
was okay.
I was
so,
there.
So Brooke,
And the agents totally
Great.
the agents
Thanks,
botched it. They thought it was a trick.
yeah, it was hilarious. Okay, so your clients are always going to look at you like once you start listing it, and it's been a couple weeks or a month, and you're not getting a lot of activity, and they're like, they're always calling you. You know, what are we missing?
Yeah.
What can we be doing? Where are you exactly marketing this to? Where else can we push this out to?
How many
Maybe
open
we should
houses?
rearrange. Add this picture to the MLS. Oh my gosh, we didn't
Take
put
this picture down.
We didn't
You know,
put that there was HVAC in the description. That was really important to me when I bought a house. I wanted to make sure that it was going to have HVAC. Silly things.
Yep.
And so I go, okay, let's play this. Let's play a little game. Your neighbor's house goes on the market today, and it's listed for $100. Are you purchasing it? Answer my question.
Hell yeah.
Okay, let's call fair market value for that house $300,000.
Okay.
You'll buy it for $100.
Yeah.
Would you buy it for $1,000?
Hell yeah.
$10,000?
Yeah, I still buy it.
$100,000.
Remember, fair market value is $300,000.
Okay, then yes, because I just made
Yeah.
200.
Yeah, don't be dumb here. Okay, this isn't.
This is
even
what the
my-
agents were doing.
Yeah. 200,000.
Yes.
250.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting close, right? 275, 280. Would you pay that if it's worth 300?
Yeah. It's a nice
No,
house.
you wouldn't because you have to pay commissions, Brooke. Okay, that's okay, but you get my point.
Yeah.
The point is that everything is for sale. And so the fact that now you're coming at me telling me something is wrong and we're missing something, then we're missing the price
Yep.
every single time. And so we can rest easy knowing that it's actually for sale and there is a buyer for it. We just have to find that price that's going to get us a buyer. And so once I paint that picture for them, it makes it a little easier for them to understand that it is the price.
Yeah.
And then if they hold on it and they don't follow my recommendations, it's on them. So either A, they drop the price and they sell the house, or they keep the house. It's the only two options.
I've had sellers. When I start playing that game with them, they like I know what you're doing, and they still are like we want to price it where we want to price it.
Yeah.
As long as you set expectations,
Yes.
it'll make the conversation of what are you doing to get this thing sold a lot easier.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But and I just feel like that agents get a bad rep for like, oh, you just want to drop the price, just drop the price.
Yeah.
In a
to
buyer's
get
market,
the house. So,
that's what you do.
Well, we understand. What kind of, is it a balanced market, buyer's market, seller's market, right? And where did we start? Did we start high? Did we start low? Did we start right where we felt like fair market value was? Also, by the way, when you're showing them those comps, those are historical.
Right.
Yes.
Those aren't future comps. Those aren't even comps for today. Those are comps for yesterday. And so markets change all the time. News comes out
Every
all
day.
the time.
Every hour.
And it changes like how you price. So that's why it's important to so common pitfalls that I think people make, and especially agents, is they don't review their pricing once a week.
Yes.
You should be having a conversation with your seller every single week, and pricing should be at the center of that discussion.
Especially if you're in a neighborhood that has new construction. Because I don't know about you guys, but this has been a common thing for me, and probably a common pitfall, but a bunch of people have bought their home 2 or 3 years ago, and they're in a neighborhood where they bought in phase 2 and they're building in phase 3 and 4 right now, and they're trying to resell, and pricing affects them so much, and they don't have a lot of equity. They didn't make a lot of equity from a couple years
Well,
ago
they
or
buy
whatever.
brand new, and when
yeah.
you buy brand new, if you sell too soon,
You go into the existing comps instead of the new sales comps.
right.
Yeah.
It's interesting because a new home actually depreciates immediately.
It's just like buying a brand new car. The second you sign those papers, it's not worth what you paid for it.
And
Which with homes you don't think that, right? I mean, homes.
Yeah.
At least with the home, it's historically it's temporary.
It is, and it will come up
Yeah.
if you live there long enough. But in the immediate future, when you buy a brand, this is really for brand new homes only. it will depreciate the moment you sign the papers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brooke.
No, you're fine. But I'm just saying like that, the competition and the pricing makes a huge difference. Even if your house is a year old, and this is a common conversation I've been having lately. And I'm like, I understand that, but like you see, even just that little paint chip over there, people start thinking that.
I looked over there.
People, I know. People just they don't want stuff that's been lived in for the most part.
You want to know the game I play in that scenario? Not the same game as Casey, but I'll tell them, listen, you have two houses, okay, right next to each other. So they're in the same neighborhood, and let's just say that the attractiveness of the elevation, all that is similar. The floor plan exactly the same.
Yep.
Same square footage, same everything.
Same
okay?
house.
It's
I have that.
exact same house. Okay. House on the left is 500,000. House on the right, 500,000. House on the left, brand new, just got finished with construction. No one's ever lived there. House on the right, people have moved in, they bought it, and they've lived there for
6 months.
6 months.
Not
yeah.
even. I go extreme. 1 month.
Yeah.
They've been there for 1 month. Okay. Same house.
Then they get divorced.
Same price. Yeah.
Buying a house is a bad choice.
Yeah. Now they got to sell it. We're happy to help. Call us. We'll
Yeah,
help
that's
with that.
right.
That's a lot of sales all in
Yeah.
one for someone's poor mishap.
Oh man.
What house do you think buyers are going to choose in that exact scenario?
Realistically, the new one.
And it paints a picture. And I would argue 10 out of 10 times, because 500,000 is 500,000.
Right.
One has never been lived in. One has been lived in. 10 out
Unless
of 10.
you can get it for 20, 30 grand cheaper.
But that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Right.
but
I'm saying they're the same price.
Yeah.
So, but so then I say to them, and they always say, okay, I see that. So then how would you entice someone to buy the house that someone's lived in? If it's 20 or 30 grand cheaper and it's the same house, now you're talking, you just increased the demand for that house because you gave them a reason to want it more. Oh, I could 1 month and I get it for 30,000 less.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
same house. I'm sure that there's, and who knows the problems the new house could have more problems than this
Good,
house.
sure.
You don't know. But that's the game I play with them,
Yeah.
Brooke, when I'm trying to show them like why you cannot compare an existing home to brand new homes. You just can't do it.
No, you
I think
just can't.
I think human psychology is funny because whenever we're in a buyer's market like we are now, where prices are going to go down, they're going to ask for closing costs. Most likely, they're going to get a lot of these things they're asking for. The seller's like, I cannot go down anymore. I will not take a penny less. And of course, they're protecting themselves.
Yeah.
But then if it's a seller's market and they go to list their house, you think they're going to be like, I'm sorry, you can keep your 30,000 over ask. I'll just take what I listed it for.
Yeah, right.
Never.
Yeah. Never.
But it's funny because when it's a buyer's market, they don't treat it that way.
No.
They don't
No.
understand, why should I have to lower my price when the comps say that? And it's like you can tell them every time, you can talk to them every day about it, and they will. I want to give some people credit because I have a client right now that she's like, okay, this makes sense. Like, yeah, let's drop it. And it works because every time we drop the price, we get 2-3 showings.
Yep.
And we're getting closer because this is the second price drop we've done, and we've gotten even more showings the second time.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually a really good example, Casey, because again, it's when we're running the comps, it's historical. I'm gonna start using that because if as a seller, if the comps say our house is worth, again, I'm just gonna use 500,000, is worth $500,000. And all of a sudden news comes out, rates drop by 100 basis points, and we get buyers galore coming out, and the demand just skyrockets, and someone comes in and writes you an offer for 525. What are you going to do as the seller? Are you going to say, no, we're asking 500? Right? I think that's a great
Right.
example. No,
Yeah.
they're going to take the 525.
Right.
Same concept. If news comes out and rates go up 100 basis points, and all of a sudden we lose all buyers in the marketplace, and then after about 3 or 4 months, you finally get a buyer that writes an offer, but it's now little less than what you wanted.
Yep.
You got to take that into consideration when pricing the home.
This is why it's hard to be a part-time agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and I deal with this with our part-time agents, because they're not up to speed on what's happening, and so they'll call me and go, "Hey, like this house has been sitting for like 4 months, and we've only had like 2 showings," and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's kind of what's going on," and they're like, "Really?"
Yeah.
And it's like, man,
Because no one talks about it.
If you're part-time, you gotta, I mean, well, just if you're a realtor, if you want to provide value to your clients, it's understanding the market and where you're at, where you've been, and where you kind of predict what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, because no one like necessarily talks about it, but just being in the industry and just producing, you just see the shift just happens. Like just naturally. And so if you're not in there, you don't know unless you have a good mentor that you're calling before you list those properties to make sure, you know.
And which is also why I tell people, like, every time someone's like, "Oh, this is complicated," or "Why are people so difficult?" It's like, well, that's why we have a job.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
So
Okay, so you guys want to know what I think is the biggest pitfall that agents and sellers make?
They want to test the market.
No. I think the biggest pitfall that they make is going to be when they see a home in their neighborhood sell, they figure out the price per foot, and then they take that price per foot and apply it to their square footage and say, okay, so this is about roughly what my home is worth.
And say theirs is the bigger house.
Right.
Compared to
that's
the
where I'm
smaller.
getting at is, you know, I did that before I became knowledgeable in this stuff. My first ever house, when I was trying to figure out what it was worth, and then the agent came and told me that, you know, it was worth like 10 or 15,000 less than what I had calculated, and I was like, "You're an idiot."
he's an idiot. Yeah. What an idiot.
I'm not hiring you, and I ended up hiring them. and it sold for, guess what? Exactly what they said. It was like a couple $1,000s less, but it's because I sat on the market longer because I wanted to price it a little bit higher.
Yep.
And so I didn't realize it at the time, but I was a victim of, I got in my own way. But what I did was I saw homes in my neighborhood sell, and if a home sold and I applied the price per foot to my home and it wasn't a number that I liked,
Yeah.
I was like, I ignored that. I was like, oh, well, we had some better ones. We've had some better ones sell. So my house is not going to be the lower price per foot. And then I would see another home sell and it was a higher price per foot. I was like, oh, great. So, you know, there are homes in the neighborhood selling for this price per foot. So that's got to be what my home is worth.
And
you know?
generally, that's for the most part sometimes right.
You got to be very careful. That's the pitfall.
Exactly. Because your neighbor's house, it could look like yours, but not be a comp to yours.
You got to take into consideration the condition and the size. And what a lot of people don't understand is the inverse relationship between size and price per foot. That's something that another thing, if you're going to take away from this episode, is when you're looking at homes in your neighborhood, if your home is bigger, then generally you're going to have a lower price per foot.
Yep.
And if your home is the smaller home, you're going to have a higher price per foot. Why? Because the best way I can explain it without going into all the detail of it is that the neighborhood as a whole has an average, a median, right? And if you're below that as far as square footage goes, then your price per foot is going to be a little higher to pull you closer to that median. Whereas if you're a bigger house, then you're going to get pulled down closer to that median, because if you apply just the average to your big house, it's going to price yours way over the median. And then people who can actually qualify for that, they're looking in neighborhoods that are closer to the same price point. Like the people who are looking in neighborhoods, they want their homes to be similar value across the board. Wealthy people aren't, like, no one's going to go and build $1 million home in the slums of Oklahoma City.
Well,
No one's going to do it.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Well, you
get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I get what you
it
mean.
happens. It happens.
Well, that's
when they're trying to, like,
I'm talking about gentrification.
Yes, they're trying to turn it
they're
around.
Creating a new market.
Yes.
Well, I have I have some listings that are new construction right now, and there's a neighborhood, and it's just a mixed bag, and that's a whole nother story. But
Yeah. I learned once that I'm texting my pest control guy because he wants to come like 2 hours early. And so I'm checking with the sellers real quick. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, no,
They're
yeah.
like 10 minutes away.
I see,
like
rude.
life
on
of a
Casey
realtor.
on his phone. You know,
Life of a
during
realtor.
the podcast.
Would your
But there's a sandwich, there's a ceiling of what home values are in a neighborhood. So it's like, typically,
Yeah.
kind of what you're saying. It's like houses are going to sell between 3 and 4 or 350 and 5. You're not like you said, you're not typically going to have an $800,000 house and then a $250,000 house next to it.
Right. There's going to be a good average.
So, but which proves the point of the smaller homes are going to get a little bit higher price per square foot.
Yes.
The bigger ones are going to get smaller because it kind of sandwiches them.
And there are anomalies, just like we're saying that there are some homes that get fixed up and they're trying to turn a neighborhood around.
That's what I was gonna say.
There are anomalies, and I've also found neighborhoods where that relationship does not hold to be true. But like it is very, very rare. Like almost every time when I'm seeing a house and I'm like, oh, it's less price per foot, I immediately go look at the size and I'm like, oh,
Yep.
it's bigger
Same.
or it's smaller, and it really is something that you got to take into consideration. And sellers, they don't know this stuff. And new agents, part-time agents, they don't really know this stuff. They're just looking at price per foot and finding an average and then applying it. Another common pitfall that I see people make, and it's a pet peeve of mine because I train on it all the time, and then I see agents that I've trained personally one-on-one still do it, and it drives me nuts. And I even call them out on it. And
seems like the more you teach it, the more they do it.
Right.
Sometimes.
Well, what I'm
it
talking
feels
about,
right, probably.
Well, it feels right, and it's easier. Okay. And so
I already know.
What I'm talking about is when you first pull up the MLS, when you're trying to search for homes in the vicinity to run comps, there's a thing at the very top where you can put the address of your property in, and then you can put a mile radius around that property. Okay. And it drives me nuts. And I actually, on one of our trainings here recently, I drew a picture for people so they can see why that is could potentially be costly to you pricing your home. Now, answer this question. I'll do it for you guys. Would you guys agree or disagree that most neighborhoods, most subdivisions, when they are developed and platted, they're going to be square or rectangular in shape?
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
In Oklahoma,
I think
for
in most
a large
places,
part.
when you go off of the township range, that meets and bounds descriptions, like they do that because it's easy to get legal descriptions. It's easy to find to identify land.
Sure.
Right. So it's all based on squares. Right.
X and Y axis.
Yes. It's all squares. Okay. So it's easy to do that with neighborhoods. So now, imagine you have a square or a rectangle. Okay. For those of you just listening, I'm drawing one in the air. Okay.
We got to find the
Now,
slope.
What are the odds that the house that you are comping is smack dab in the middle of that square, of that neighborhood? What are the odds? What not very.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be in the top right of the neighborhood, bottom. I mean, you might be close to the center, but you're not going to be smack dab in the center.
Yeah.
So now you do this half a mile radius search. So now you have a square. Now you're drawing a circle around it. Okay, it's a even circle. Okay, one of two things is going to happen, or two of two things is going to happen. Okay, you're not going to capture the entire square. Okay, if it's not big enough. Okay, if you make it big enough to capture the entire square. Okay,
Get some corners.
Yeah, now you are like the agent I was training this on a couple weeks ago. When I saw that he did that, and he was like, I found a couple comps, and then the comps that he found were in a completely different neighborhood. And there's an area in Oklahoma City. We were comping Central Park, and if anyone knows Central Park, there are some very prestigious neighborhoods around it.
Yeah.
So he was grabbing comps, and this was a nice remodeled home in Central Park. And so he was grabbing homes that were in Edgemere Park.
Yeah.
And then there's Crown Heights. And it's like, okay, so now if you make the radius bigger, you are now capturing homes that are not going to be good comps. to a point where I want to say appraisers can go outside of the neighborhood if it warrants it, if it's hard to find.
If you can't find
can't find the comps in your neighborhood, in your area. But you always got to check your neighborhood first. So go get the subdivision, put the subdivision in, and then
expand from there.
Do not do a radius search.
Really pay attention to the conditions of the home and likeliness.
You got to pay attention to the condition and the size. And again, if you just do radius, because I've heard someone say, "Well, I do the radius, but then I just take the ones off that are not in my neighborhood." Okay, well, how do you know?
How do you really know? I mean, I guess you can go through each one.
Well, the legal additions is a list on the single line display.
Right.
You can see. So you can. It's just an extra step. But what you don't know is what if your circle does not capture the whole neighborhood, and there's a comp in there that's going to really solidify your price, and you now miss it.
How do you know where the neighborhood stops and ends? Because there's some neighborhoods, there's like 5 neighborhoods crammed all into one. You
can usually find a map. You can find if you search.
But still, like
historical
if they're just,
OKC is notorious for that.
To your point of them just drawing a circle, they don't know that. That's
no,
so
they
much
wouldn't.
extra.
The circle wouldn't know.
I can't remember what neighborhood it is here, and not far from here, but it's like one side of the street is a different neighborhood.
Almost every historical neighborhood, like the line is like a street, and the north side is one neighborhood, south side is one neighborhood. And this actually happened on this exact. This comp hit all of it. He did the radius search, and he got other neighborhoods, and then there was even houses on the same street, different block. Completely different neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so you got to pay attention to that stuff. Appraisers are generally going to look for homes that are within 15% plus or minus of the square footage. They can go up to 20% of the square footage. And what I mean by that is if you have a 1,000 square foot home, okay, the most that they're going to go down to is an 800 square foot home. And then a 1,200 is the max. They're not going to go below. If they do find one that's below 800 square feet and they put it in their appraisal report, if there's a loan involved, then the lender is going to have an issue with it. They may still accept it if the other comps are good or whatever, but they're going to call that one out and probably dump that one from the analysis and maybe make the appraiser go find another one.
Yeah.
So when you're running your comps, don't go past 20%. If you can find 10 comps that are within 5% of the square footage, that would be better than going straight to 15. But most of the time you got to get out to that 15 to get enough data to analyze.
Well, also time too. I think we talked about that. Like if you really want to know like what the current market is doing right now,
closer, yeah.
Don't
100%.
Immediately start and don't go past a year. Like see what's happened in the past 30 days, 90 days. So that way you know exactly what's going on in the market, especially the market that we've been in. Days on market are all kinds of crazy right now. And I use days on market a lot with setting expectations with sellers because that's so important. You sit on the market longer, then you make a bad perception for yourself and the house that you're selling. So just looking at that.
You know what else?
I think that's a good point is the time. Start just like with the square footage, start with 30, then go to 90, then go to 180, then
start like if you can find it within the past 30 days.
Or do the opposite, you can back into it, but it's like, if you do like a year back and you have 40 comps, it's like you need to
narrow
start working backwards.
That's a good way to save time because if you go a year out and there's like 2 comps, you're like, you're probably going to have to be a year out.
Yeah.
So,
clients, agents have to understand this first, and then clients have to understand this. We want to use the comps that we want to use to justify the price we want. Like even if it makes sense, like that's a comp it's within the last year, but there's 5 houses that sold last month that are going to be closer in time.
Yep.
Yes.
So an appraiser is going to consider those before the one you want to justify your price.
It's going to be a higher weight.
And agents that put a lot into that. Something else they don't do is they don't go through those comparables and look at the property history because they're going, these houses are selling within 25 to 30 days. Look, this one sold in 7 days. Well, you pull that property history up, it's actually been listed 3 times.
Yes.
So actually, that property took a year and a half to sell.
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
Now your client thinks it's going to sell in 30 days when really houses have been sitting much longer.
Yeah, so definitely look at that. And then something else that I do, now we're getting into the steps that we'll take when we're pricing a home. But one of the things that I'll do is, to Casey's point, I will go back and I will run it not just for a year, but I'll run it from 9 months to 12 months. And then I'll run it from 6 months to 9 months, 3 months to 6 months, and then 0 months to 3 months. And, when I've trained people on that, they're like, why do you do that? And I go, well, I'm looking for trends.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can show a seller that a year ago that this is what the price points were, okay, and you see that the averages are decreasing, well then then prices in your neighborhood are going down. So because it's historical information, we can reasonably predict that if that trend is probably going to continue, unless there's some kind of news that we're expecting to hear that's going to turn it around.
I
right?
think if you just know how to read the data and think outside the box, because you're not just going to pull one report and that's it. Like you just talked about running several different reports. Casey talked about they want this house. I've ran reports where I ran, here's the comps, and then I've included that extremely high comp and just shown the difference, But seeing and showing your client this data, you're not, at that point, you're not trying to say anything or sell them. You're just explaining the data. So if you know how to get the data and read it and explain it to your client, then it's like they've seen everything and listened to you. For the most part, they usually make the right decision.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll pay attention to seasons, like if we're in the summer, I'll run comps for that neighborhood for that same season last year versus the wintertime to see if there's been any big changes in comps. So there's so many ways to kind of really look at this when you want to analyze it. The biggest point that I like to make to agents I'm coaching and to the sellers I am helping is that price as a whole is very, very subjective. I mean, I should say the price is objective. Coming up with the listing price is subjective. And what I mean by that is you could go and you could get 10 experienced agents, 5 experienced agents, 5 experienced appraisers. They don't have anything to go off of other than here's the address. I want all 10 of you to come up with a value. Mm-hmm. They all come back with a value. There's a good chance that all 10 of them are going to have a different end value, right? Yeah. However, what you're going to end up with though is a range, which is why when you see a lot of these pricing algorithms, they don't give you just a price, they give you a range. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're coming up with is if we had 10 people go out and price it, what is that range? And then we got to decide strategically, where do we want to land on that in that range? And that's where the subjective part comes in. It's like, okay, the range is objective, but where we land in there is going to be the subject. It's up to you and the seller, right? Really, it's up to the seller, and you got to do a job to convince them of what's going to be best for them to get the house sold to maximize the dollar. So
yeah,
boom.
Well, just price it right. No.
Yep. Any other steps that you guys take when you're
no, I think
price?
Another good piece of advice is like when you're doing that, sometimes I like to come with options. Clients like options.
Yeah, for sure.
Where you're still pricing.
You can sell at 300,000 or 300,000.
You can still price it right.
Well,
and
you can fix stuff up and get, if you want to get this.
Right.
Yes.
Good. Like, you can have a poor condition, average, and best if you really fix everything up and then decide, is it worth it?
I've had that conversation with the client recently. It's like, man, I wouldn't put all this money into it right now because you might put 30, 40 grand into new flooring and some paint, and then we still need to keep dropping the price. I was like, if I were you, I would just drop the price till it sells, because then that way you're not guaranteed to spend that 40 grand and you don't have to accept any offer you don't want to.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it just depends on, if you're going to do some work and fix it up right away, if there's not enough like equity in the home, like if you could sell it right now for $300 or put $30,000 into it and sell it for $320, clearly it's not worth putting the $30,000 in because
Yeah.
you're selling it right now. So you gotta kind of weigh the cost and the reward. So one other thing that we haven't talked about that
Now you would do
in-
that. Sorry, I mean to cut you off. Now you would do that if that's going to be the thing that gets you the offers.
Well, sure,
You know,
that's a good point.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
dirty carpet,
yeah,
really bad
desirability.
paint. Like
Yes.
if you could clean some of those things up, yeah, you may not get all your money back, but at least now you've got some buyers. Because
But-
people don't like.
but-
People don't
You're
like
getting
that.
their emotions. That's what I tell people, because like as long as their emotions coming in, because it's so much more than pricing. As soon as they walk in, they're using all their senses. Do they like this house? Does it smell good? You know, like that.
And sometimes
that
that's not
affects
worth
them.
any discount.
No,
them.
100%.
But to my point, Casey, is that the 300 price is already taking into consideration the bad carpet and all that, right? And so if replacing the carpet, if you're able to sell it for 300,000 with bad carpet, dirty carpet, but then or you could spend 10,000 to replace the carpet and you're gonna sell it for 305, okay? Then it's not worth it, right? Because you're spending 10 to make 5. You got those are the things you got to take into consideration. Now, generally speaking, doing the floor, paint, and stuff like that, you should, if it needs it and it warrants it, it should help you get a good value back out of it. But people don't understand that just because here's a common pitfall that we didn't talk about. I fixed this, and this, so therefore, and I spent $50,000, so therefore my house just went up by $50,000. All your repairs and maintenance, it doesn't increase your value dollar for dollar, especially maintenance, right? People are like, I just put a new roof on the house.
Yes.
I spent $30,000, so now my house is worth an extra $30,000. Does not work that way.
No.
People expect the roof to be solid when they buy a house.
Yeah, if anything,
whether it's new or existing.
I just had this conversation with a seller. Like, no, it's not going to get you more, but if anything, I mean, it could help your desirability if they're trying to pick between two houses and you have a new roof. Well, monthly payments are a big thing right now, so you're going to help save them on insurance. So that's where your value is going to come in.
Selling feature and all that kind of goes into like not only pricing but into marketing the house and finding the right buyer. Something else that I'll do with as part of my steps is like if I'm close to a price bracket, then I heavily consider pricing it at that bracket.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what for those of you who don't know what price bracketing is, there was somebody did a test on human psychology and on like people's desire or I guess the ability for marketers to attract people to make a decision on buying something. And what they found was this was very effective when you were checking out at a grocery store or just where you're checking out, you're standing in line and you see items there. And when they're priced at $3, they sold, X number of candy bars. But when they put the price at $2.99, they increased the number of candy bars sold dramatically, right? And the idea behind that was that's when people are making quick, like irrational decisions, like they're just picking it up and they're going, right?
Yeah.
When you purchase a home, it is not a last second decision standing in line.
Right.
And so people think we should price it $1 lower or $100 lower so that we can, attract somebody, right? And it doesn't work the same. It can have an effect in some cases, I will say, but you have what's called price bracketing where people are qualified up to a certain amount. Okay. And so again, let's just go with we'll go with the $300,000 price point again. If you run comps and you find that the house is worth $302,000 when you figure it up. Okay. I would heavily consider pricing it at 300 because now you are capturing all of the people that are qualified up to 300,000. Now, there are sellers that would say, well, people who qualify at 300, they're gonna search above they're thinking they're gonna be able to negotiate, right? Well,
not in this
Not
market.
usually. Yeah.
No,
Not all the time.
buyers will think that they can negotiate. Like they'll
negotiate.
They'll increase their budget to find better homes, thinking that they're gonna pull the seller down to their budget, right?
Yeah.
They'll do that all the time. The problem though is, you're only capturing the people that will do that, that think they can do that, and not everybody's going to have that strategy. You want to capture the entire demographic. And so what people don't think about is when we are searching for properties, we don't type in, okay, I want to find homes that are priced from 274.3 up to 299, right? We're not doing that. We're typing in 275 to 300. We're typing in 300 to 320, 300 to 400. We're not typing in 299 to 400. So the moment you have your $300,000 home and you decide to drop it to 299.9, you just missed out on everybody that has their search set up for 300 to 350, from 300 to 400.
Right.
So price bracketing is a big deal. Pay attention to it. If you're close to it, the psychology is not the same as checking out at a grocery store.
Right.
So
No.
price it exactly where
Not
it
at
needs to
J.C.
be.
Penney's.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Well, I think we kind of talked about the risks of overpricing, but what do you guys think the risks of underpricing?
Well, summarize the risk of overpricing real quick for us, Brooke.
Summarize
Just summarize
overpricing.
overpricing. What are the risks if you overprice?
Well, you're going to probably sell for less.
Okay.
That's
Days on market.
That's a
there's
risk.
one. Days on market, you're
Yep.
going to just sit there on the market.
Yep.
You may get a difficult buyer. I say that's one because you've just been sitting there. That perception's bad.
And you don't want your house to sit, especially when it's vacant.
Yes.
I've got a squatter situation right now that I've got to go deal with in a couple days.
Yeah.
Have fun. With
Living
that.
behind the it's in historical OKC. They've made themselves a nice little home behind the detached garage.
Yep.
So we need to get this property sold so it becomes someone else's problem.
Yes, 100%.
And you have issues with vandalism, squatters.
And it happens everywhere.
It does.
Like I had one.
Oh,
not-
in nice neighborhoods too. People will find out, they'll
yeah.
move in.
Oh, yeah.
I had one
Oh,
not
yeah.
too long ago, and my sellers, they ended up taking my sign out of the yard, and they're like, "Hey, I put it in the garage. Hope you don't mind." And they just kept having problems. Someone went into their backyard, and I was like, "That's fine. Just keep my sign in the garage. I totally get it. Like we're about to close anyways."
Yeah.
So
Okay, so underpricing.
underpricing. I don't know. I'm asking you guys. What do you think is? Because I have some.
Well, the biggest risk to underpricing is that you don't draw in the demand that you thought you would, and therefore your the offers that come in, you leave money on the table. That's the biggest risk to underpricing, and then you underprice. If you're in a market where you
If
could
it's a
sell
seller's
it,
market.
you could sell it for even in a seller's market, there's still risk to underpricing. Depends on how much of a seller's market we're in, but you run the risk of creating this stigma around, not stigma. You run the risk of undervaluing your property, because if you put it on for a certain price and it doesn't get the traffic that you're hoping for,
Yeah.
now you've had it up. And if you try to go back to what it should be, people are going to, well, it didn't sell when it was this price. Why the heck would I pay this
I will say, I
price?
did just sell a listing that this happened to.
Yeah, like in a good way or bad way?
We priced it right, and we got multiple offers, and it went up above what we priced it at.
Yep.
Our seller had a business partner that did not agree, and so we declined all three offers, and we went up in price, and then we sold it for that price.
I hate it when they're right on that stuff.
Golly.
I mean, it took a while. We sat on the market, but we did sell it.
Yeah, that's so
Oh
interesting.
my gosh.
Very rare.
Give
but I was
give
like,
the example. Okay, what'd you guys price it at?
oh gosh, I don't remember now.
Guess.
Like, well, it was like $150,000
Okay, and
house.
then what was the highest offer when you got the three offers?
Maybe like 160,
Okay, and then what
And
did you guys then price it for?
175.
And you got the 175. Mm-hmm. So
We had to pay a little bit in closing costs,
yeah,
but yeah.
you'll have to. It will sit, but that's the thing, is if you underprice it, then that's you guys would have left money on the table. So you guys underpriced it, not knowing that you underpriced it, and you thought what was great offer is 160. That's great. We got 10,000 over what we were asking, but
It went completely against all of our data.
Yeah,
So
it's
we're the
crazy.
highest comp that sold. So
yeah, that happens sometimes.
That price point, it's like
yeah.
there's so many buyers for it.
Also, was
I don't
there
think we
was
could
there
ever
was
do it
there
again.
an appraisal on it? Or was it cash?
I can't remember.
Because that,
I'm gonna go back and look now.
yeah, I'm curious to know.
We'll
if
come
it
back
appraised.
for next week's episode, and we'll give
tell
you a recap.
if it appraised or not. You know, because that's a big part of it too. Is that can it even appraise?
Yeah, and that was the scary part. And so, luckily, one of the business partners was on the same page as us, and so, yeah, whatever.
But hey, you know, there's many times where some of the things I'll tell sellers is like, look, I've been wrong before. The data's been wrong. Again, it's historical data.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but I'm pretty darn good at getting it as close to where it needs to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you can take that for what it's worth or not, but
Well, also too,
almost every time that we tell them and they go against it, it works against them.
Yeah.
They get in their own way, and the first offer you get is usually going to be the best because it's the lower days on market. You turn it down, you know, and in that case, that was an anomaly.
Oh yeah.
But I can't say this enough. Almost every time that a seller turns when it's a good offer.
Yes.
If you're getting lowball offers, that's not the same. When you get a good offer that's acceptable, and you're turning it down to hold out for a better one, 9 times out of 10, the next offer we get is worse. They're asking for more closing costs, all this extra stuff, and it's just like, dang, I wish you guys would have just listened.
I know.
Come on.
So frustrating.
Oh man.
Because I'm trying and I know what I'm talking about.
I'm not cray cray. But also too, I tell my clients, like especially sellers, obviously, but like pricing is just one part of this situation.
It's the
like,
most important
But it's the
part.
most important.
you know, but at the end of the day, like my job is also to ensure that we have a smooth closing. So I always joke to everybody, I'm like, getting a buyer is the easy part. I'm like, getting from contract to close is the next harder part. I was like, because what if we did overprice it and we go under contract, we go through inspections are crap, and we had to pay 10 grand on that, and then all of a sudden we get the appraisal come in, and now the appraisal is $10,000 to $20,000 low, and now the buyer can't pay it, and the only option is for you to reduce the price, and no one wants to do it, and we bust the deal, and now everyone's time and effort is wasted, money's wasted, time's wasted.
Then you go back on the market and you get an
You gotta
offer
go back
for
on the market.
exact price it
Or
should
lower.
have.
Yeah, and yeah.
or lower. Yeah.
God.
So it's like,
Yeah,
you know,
frustrating.
I don't like to do that. I like to have I would like my clients to have a smooth transaction. It can't always happen every time. Things come up. There's another agent on the other side and other buyers with their own emotions. But if we can control as much as we can from the day we list it, then we're going to have smooth sailing from then. Because we talked
Well,
about
you
in a
don't wanna-
previous episode about like looking at different repairs and roofs and stuff like that. Just getting the listing ready to sell.
Yeah, you don't
and
wanna
pricing
backtrack.
it right. Yeah. Like, let's just do it all right, set us up, and then
I have
see you at
had
closing.
in my career only a couple sellers that said, you just do what you do and get it sold. Just a couple.
Really?
And when that has happened, we have done really well.
smooth.
Gotten good pricing, sold it quickly, and it's phenomenal when that happens. And I'm saying like complete hands off, like not just from the listing. I'm talking like
it comes in like 20 grand short, and they're like, what do you think we should do?
all the way through. Well, you tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the expert
Okay.
here. You're the
Yeah.
pro.
Yeah.
And they don't push back on anything. Inspections come in and like here's what I think we should do on the, and man, that is rare. It's rare to find a seller that's like understands like, hey, you've sold thousands of these. I've been a part of maybe one or two.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know a little bit more than I do.
Yeah.
But real estate is such a common thing, and people are interested in it and enough to where they're like, no. I think
Right.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And they add so much stress to themselves and to me.
Yes, it's very emotional, and the emotions cause them to make decisions that they shouldn't or otherwise wouldn't, and then we're the ones.
I mean,
that
I
keep
could,
going. But
I could sell houses for so much cheaper if people weren't so difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
like seriously, like I do not feel guilty for charging 3% because I have to earn it every once in a while. Like you said, it's just a nice closing. It's easy and things go. But most of the time, like, you're losing sleep. You're answering texts at 10:30 at night. You're trying to figure out how to get someone to come up with $20,000. I had a guy one time that bought a house. He never made a payment after he bought it. We hit the COVID time, so he got the whatever it was, the what was it called?
I didn't remember
it started with the M.
Did it?
Mematorium, or I can't remember the name. I just sound like an idiot now.
I can't.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah,
so he didn't have to make a payment, and then he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I want to sell this house." So I ran comps. Turns out we can't sell it for anymore. He's already like degraded the property, and we pretty much just had to list it for what he could get out of it for. And everyone that showed it had interest. I go, "Hey, look, here's the story. You can't offer a penny less.
Yeah.
Because I'm giving a discount. I'm making this number work the best I can. This is the only number that will allow this house to sell." I 100% understand if your buyers can't do that or don't like it.
Yeah.
So we get the offer. They appease us. And then it turns out
if an agent told me that, I don't do that.
He owes $9,000 on the back payment for his mortgage because he hasn't been paying. He didn't realize it. That's when no one realized how that actually worked.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's like, well, now you can't sell. Well, a couple days later, he totals his truck, and he gets a $10,000 check for his Silverado, and we close on the property.
Get out of here, man. That's crazy.
Craziest thing. Like,
wow.
I'm just going, this ain't gonna sell.
Yeah.
And it did. It all worked out. And the buyers love the house.
It's all that matters.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
All right. So kind of a recap.
Yeah, do it.
All right. So this is probably the biggest one. Don't guess. Use data. That's the first one. Price to attract, not chase. So have those hard conversations. Give your sellers options, and avoid the extremes. Don't go too high and don't go too low. So educate. I think that's the biggest thing, and learn how to read data.
Good job.
I'll read the data.
Brooke. Good job, Casey.
Tomato, potato, potato.
What do you say?
I said, good job.
No. What do you say, data or data?
I say.
Did I say data?
Data.
Yeah, you say data. We say data. So.
Data. Read the data.
Is it,
Data.
Looks like there's a fine line here.
But honestly,
ramen or ramen?
But honestly,
Ramen.
if someone said data like she did, I don't think twice
it's
about
acceptable.
it.
Yeah, I was like, I
It's
just
more
make up my own
acceptable than
damn words
tomato,
all the time
tomato.
anyways.
It's
Way more
than that.
acceptable, yeah. Because I mean, everyone knows it's tomato.
Depends. If you're in England, you don't ask for a napkin because a napkin's a diaper.
Fair.
So
then what do you ask for? A diaper?
yeah. No, I forget what they call it. My grandma used to tell me all the time, all the differences. It's my grandma's from there.
A towelette, please.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Anyways, close us up, Casey.
All right, guys. Well, as we come to an end, I would just like to thank you for listening, watching. So please like, subscribe, comment, click the bell. Let us know if there's any topics you guys want us to talk about. Other than that, we're signing off. I'm Casey Tuter. This is Curtis Haddock and Brooke
Massey.